The bar's got that swing. Glasses clink, hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie. Chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the day, like the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Saluta and welcome. Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope everybody is having a good start to your week. I believe that I am. It's still early, but I think we're doing okay. Good to see y'all here. Let's say hi to those that have gotten in here early, starting with JoesAtmosfere. Says, hell yeah. There you go, my friend. Gives me a thumbs up. Thanks so much for being here. And, of course, Netters Network saying, hello to the love of my life. I love you too, my dear. And, yes, she says, like, share, subscribe, become a member. Yes, I know I should probably wait until there's more people in here, but please do hit that like button. I am noticing that I get a good number of you in here, but not a whole lot of likes. I need that positive reinforcement to keep me going, so I know you actually like what I'm doing. And the other problem is if I don't have a whole lot of likes, it just takes one person to throw that ratio off. And we've got some trolls that are looking to really undermine what we do here. Yes, Netter popped into the studio here just to make sure I was unmuted. Just keep in mind that there's no limit to my ineptitude. Nothing keeps me from remuting myself because I'm a dingbat. Jonathan Conroy, welcome. He says, "Hail all, drinking some iced tea. That sounds like a great lunchtime drink for a Monday. What are we sipping? I'm sipping on. Well, you could probably see what I'm sipping on. You notice I got one of those little red, cocktail skewers in the shape of a sword. If you guys are Star Wars fans, and got action figures back in the day, you know those were invaluable for replacement lightsabers. In fact, I think they were actually better lightsabers than the ones that Kenner made. Just my opinion. Mark Melnikoff, Mechpo. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. I am glad that you are here. And by the way, speaking of Wilkie's movies and music, make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's got a great channel about, well, movies and music, and I know we all love those things. And I will be forwarding you to him on Fridays after Liquid Lunch. But today, by the way, today my intent is to I love my wife. She knows how to encourage me. Positive reinforcement. 8008S. If you know, you know. If you are an immature male, you definitely know. But yes, so where was I going with that before I was distracted by boobs? I have no idea. But I was talking about forwarding, and I currently have the stream in about 50 minutes or less to forward you all to Midnight's Edge in the morning. If they are still going, that is. Please, as I drop y'all off there, make sure you go over there and say hi. Tell them I sent you. Joe Dubecki, good to see you, my friend. I'm working but lurking in the background while I listen. Working but lurking. I love that. That is awesome. If you could hit that like button, I'd really, really appreciate it. If you are going to be distracted, let it be boobs. Of course, I absolutely agree. What was the joke that Andy Masterson told on Doomcock the other day? He said, did you read the study that said that males above the age of 21, statistics say they live longer if they get to look at women's boobs. So women, if you care about the men in your life, or, even random strangers, help them live longer. It can't hurt. Okay, let us get into it. You've seen the thumbnail, I'm sure. You've at least read the title. And I actually don't remember what I titled it, but it had something to do with the success of Lilo and Stitch. Snarky J just recently did a video. She has some strong, she calls herself Snarky J, so obviously she has strong opinions about things. And she admitted candidly that she had been hoping for this film to not do well, because like so many of us, she's getting really sick and tired of the live action remakes. How live action they are if you're just swapping out 2D animation for 3-dimensional computer graphics. I don't know. It's just swapping out one form of animation for another. Netter's helping me out here. She's saying, you called it Liquid Lunch, wrong lesson for Disney. Yeah, I figured it was something like that. I knew what the topic was. I just may not have known the specific title I chose. But getting to the bottom of my drink. Give me a second here. Got to refill. Okay. So, what was I saying about Disney? Yes. So, I agree with Snarky J on most things. And on this in particular, I do not like the live action remakes. They've all been unmitigated disasters. I would argue that the Cinderella remake was good. It was almost on par and in some ways surpassed the original cartoon. That if they'd have kept them all at that quality, I'd have been all for it. Unfortunately, they did not, and they got precipitously worse as they went, culminating in the disaster that was Snow White. Although I don't know if we're going to say it was Snow White that was the disaster or Rachel Zegler. Either way, it was a disaster and it lost them money. But I do feel like Disney may be looking at Lilo and Stitch and saying, but this makes up for it. But does it? Does it? Let's take a look. So I've pulled up Box Office Mojo. I don't know how good a site they are for following these kinds of things, but let's give it the benefit of the doubt and take a look at it. No, I don't want to share my sound or you're going to get an echo. Share. And let's go to the share screen and bring this up. So let's take a look at this. Lilo and Stitch from 2005. Looks like they did... and this is just have they gone through this is their second week, right? Yeah. And I don't know how up to date this is, but I'm assuming it's fairly up to date. It's got to account for this past weekend. So we're looking at a $280,000 domestic, $330,000 international, for a total of $610,000, bordering on $611,000. That's actually pretty good. In fact, let's switch over to this article from Comic Book News, which I don't care for the site, but they're getting at the stats that I was interested in looking at here. Lilo and Stitch box office milestone topples Disney's third highest ranked remake in global top 10. Let's parse that again. Lilo and Stitch box office, okay, the number that we're looking at on the previous slide, is a milestone that topples Disney's third highest ranked remake. Okay, that doesn't sound that good to me all of a sudden. Yeah. Robert, welcome, by the way, Robert's Infinite Realms. Yep, that is the problem. They need one win to forget 10 losses. Lilo and Stitch just undid everything. That's an excellent point. Let me kind of start by parsing what you just said. On the one hand, I think we get so disgusted and frustrated with Disney that we end up being of the mind that Disney cannot learn. But that's not entirely true. They can learn. And in this regard, it shows how slow they are to learn. Imagine this, okay? They say you gotta burn your hand to learn not to touch the fire. If you're dumb, if you're smart, you know just by inference. Heat is hot, fire burns. If I put my hand on it, it will hurt and it will burn and it will damage me. That's the smart person. But as we know, children aren't usually smart. So they literally need to touch the flame before or where the flame was, and then they get a big welt, and then they're crying for days, and they know, never, never, never. I will never even go near the stove, right? Now imagine if they kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And then one time they touched it and it wasn't hot. Now they've completely unlearned everything they've learned. That's how stupid Disney seems to be. But that isn't even the main point that I was getting to. That's just the underlying element. But thank you for bringing up, because I might not have thought of that myself, Robert's Infinite Realms. I was getting to this. Thank you very much, Jonathan Conroy. Culture Casino said that even with this movie doing good, Disney is still in the hole money-wise. That is an excellent point. And yes, I do encourage you to check out both the standalone video that Culture Casino released today, as well as their as the 6-minute daily that he did, where he talked about this. They're still in the hole. Let's face it, Disney. I'm not going to say they proved this, but they strongly support the theory that they don't care about about profitability. They're getting their money from elsewhere, so they will continue to do whatever they feel like doing and throwing money away. But you're absolutely right. They did end up still. Then again, this film isn't done, and we don't know what kind of legs it will have. This is one thing, and I love Valiant Renegade is light years ahead of me as far as being able to do financial analysis. He is a financial guy, so he's got the training and the experience. I'm just Joe Nobody looking at shadows on the cave wall. But one thing that I don't think enough people talk about is that I actually lost track of where I was going. That's what a goofball I am. The trend of losing money, even if that isn't a concern for you, it creates a perception, and that perception leads to a kind of momentum, right? So we talk about how much legs a film has, right? So we'll take the good and the bad example, right? Lilo and Stitch did incredibly well Memorial Day weekend. It's opening week. So we expect it to probably do pretty well, not drop off a lot, the second week, because it has the momentum of first having done well, which in and of itself sends a message to people, hey, this movie did well. Maybe that's a movie we should go see. Plus, it had good word of mouth. A lot of people said, yeah, it was pretty good. So I'm looking for something to take my kids to. I'll go see this, right? So it does really well the second week. And that success tends to build success. It is going to drop off, but it's going to drop off much more slowly. It may even pick up a little bit, if it gets enough good word of mouth. But just doing well on its own is a kind of good word of mouth. Whereas, let's take a look at Snow White, right? Which did poorly in its first week, had terrible word of mouth from the people that did see it, got terrible reviews from the hoity-toities, right? So it not only did bad, it steadily dropped off after that. It's this momentum that tends to be. So what I'm getting at is I think that Lilo and Stitch still has some good life left in it for at least a couple more weeks. On top of that, keep in mind that yes, it's not going to do enough to save it from Snow White, but we're really looking at apples and oranges here, right? On the one hand, they threw metric crap tons of money into Snow White. It's like that scene where the Joker has the big pallet of money and lights it on fire. That's what Disney seemed to be doing with Snow White. It's like, do we have any more money we can throw on this fire? Let's push this movie out. Let's refilm some stuff. Let's get some more CG in there. Let's see how much more money we can burn, Whereas Lilo and Stitch, I know Culture Casino mentioned this. I'm pretty sure Snarky J mentioned this too. This wasn't originally intended to be a theatrical release. This was originally meant to be a Disney Plus exclusive. So they were keeping the budget down. So they got the double benefit of doing very well they decided to put it out at theaters because it's like, we need money. We need to try and recoup some losses from everything we shoveled into the furnace on Snow White. And they also had kept their costs down because they had originally intended this to go to streaming. So both of those things mean more revenue on the back end. Disney can't afford to forget their 10 losses, considering even if Lilo and Stitch hits $1 billion, it still won't recoup. And I was inferring that they might get closer to that number. I don't believe they're actually going to hit $1 billion. But I will put a caveat on that. I am specifically talking about box office here on this. I'm not even talking about, they're almost certainly going to release this on some sort of physical media as well. You don't usually release something at the movies and not give it a home media release. So there could be more there as well. Although it's not on my docket to talk about today, I'm hearing that the Karate Kid Legends is not doing very well at all. But I am probably going to buy the DVD simply because I got to finish my collection. I'm a completist. See, that's how revenue works for them, right? Oh yeah, and Fantastic Four is a bomb coming right after this. But again, I do think that Disney does tend to compartmentalize. They're going to take and look at their live action remakes, their Disney brands, separately from the Marvel, separately from the Star Wars. That's even worse. They're not learning lessons they should be by looking at everything in one long view. But Disney can't get their money from Vanguard and BlackRock anymore. Their own shareholders are tired of losing money with Rogue Project. Okay. I'm going to agree with you to a degree on that, Nate, but I am going to push back a little. I think you're overstating it. They are still getting money from BlackRock and Vanguard. And the investors are dumb. The investors are not us. The investors do not pay enough attention to this. They see headlines and they believe them, right? We were just talking about this on Geeky Geezers last night with the acquisition of CoComelon. I said, this makes absolutely zero sense. Nickelodeon is looking to ditch this thing because it was popular for a hot minute and now it's past its prime. And Disney is buying it as though they're at a farmer's market and they're getting the stuff that's getting ready to go in the dumpster at a reduced price to say, hey, look what we got. And unfortunately, the suits that are, responsible for buying stocks look and go, oh, I heard of CoComelon. That must be a good investment. Okay, I will invest more money in Disney as a result. I don't know how these rich people hold on to their money. They won't learn because they don't. Well, that is true, Mark. You're absolutely right on that. Yes. And Jonathan Conroy says, Fantastic Four. Yeah, exactly. We know that's going to be a dumpster fire to watch real soon, too. That's another one they've shoveled a lot of money onto as well. Even the Disney shills downplayed Snow White. They didn't trash it, but they didn't build it up. They have other films. Yeah. In fact, that brings us back to the Lilo and Stitch discussion here, because we saw Disney pivoting even before Snow White was in studios. They dropped their promoting of Snow White to start promoting Lilo and Stitch early. And I honestly think that was the right move. They knew they had already expended way too much money on Snow White. It's like, you know what? This thing's a cluster frack. Let it die. Let's start trying to build the next thing. And it seems to have paid off for them. So anyway, I brought this article up. We should probably take a look at it. Disney's new Lilo and Stitch remake may not be the most critically acclaimed of its live-action reboots, but it's steadily overtaking the top performers in terms of box office sales. In its second weekend in theaters, Lilo and Stitch has earned nearly $611 million worldwide, surpassing the third highest-ranked Disney live-action remake, Cinderella. Cinderella is really the third highest? It was arguably the best. It should have done much better, in my opinion, which had a gross of $543 million. It passed several of the studio's other remakes in terms of ticket sales as well, but its critical ranking is still comparatively low. Still, the outpouring of enthusiasm from fans could help secure this movie a better legacy than some others. Okay, so let's do a know-nothing breakdown. Okay, I don't know anything. I am not, I'm nobody. I'm looking at, what's it called? I'm looking at shadows on the wall here, and I'm thinking, okay, why is it doing so well? if it's not a critical success, if it didn't get great reviews, what exactly is it about this that people are migrating to? And I think it's one big thing. It's what is different between Lilo and Stitch and Snow White and all the other things that people have been upset about. It's messaging or lack thereof. Now, there is some in there, but it's very, very subtle. And you have to be sensitive enough to it to even pick up on it. So by and large, they're doing pretty well in that regard. They didn't turn every girl in it into a girl boss. They didn't make all the men look bad just because man. The other problem that people tend to have with remakes is when they veer off from what they should be doing, right? What they should be doing is doing a faithful adaptation of the source material. That is, literally make a live action remake of the cartoon. Don't add songs, don't remove songs. Don't add characters, don't remove characters. And I'm going to defend one difference that I heard that they made in this thing. And that's the two alien characters that infiltrate and are trying to find the asset, which is Stitch. In cartoons, they were, like aliens in human garb. One of them being, doing the cross-dressing shtick. All of that works well in animation. Doesn't work real well in live action, right? So they decided, well, they're just going to change one element that, yes, they're going undercover, but they're going to use a holographic disguise, which is going to make them actually look like humans, because it's really hard to believe that someone's going to look at a one-eyed, Mulan looking creature in a dress and think it's a woman. Although these days, I don't know. But let's be honest. It works well in cartoon, doesn't work well in live action. So that one change, you make a change based on the medium, that's kind of acceptable. But where was I? Oh, so that in and of itself is enough reason for a lot of people to be saying, you know what, this might be worth taking my kids to. And I think there's so little competition out there that people are looking for something to take their kids to. And they'll take just about anything as long as they think it's safe. Now, I've seen some comparisons between the box office for Lilo and Stitch and the box office for the Tom Cruise movie, Mission Impossible. First, it's apples and oranges, right? I don't think there's a lot of crossover audience. But why would Lilo and Stitch do better? Because it's got a larger general appeal. You're going to take your family to see it. Whereas if you want to go see Mission Impossible, it's probably just going to be, if you're a father or a husband or even a single guy, you're going to go with your male friends. It's probably not a date night movie. It's probably not something you take the kids to. And given a choice, well, I got to take my family, And so we all go as a family to see this thing. That's why I was kind of hoping to see that Mission Impossible possibly had, a better second week. I took my kids and family to see Lilo and Stitch. So this week we'll go see, I'll go see Mission Impossible with the guys, right? I don't know. Because I haven't really been paying much attention to the box office on that, but that's where that is. So that's what I'm seeing from this whole Lilo and Stitch thing. Let's look at this again. So with 610 million in total ticket sales, Lilo and Stitch has now outperformed Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, which made 491.7 million, and The Little Mermaid from 2023, which made 569.6 million. Way more than it really should have. It's still far behind Disney's most profitable live action remake, such as The Lion King from 219, okay, which earned over 1.6 billion. Still, it's notable that Lilo and Stitch is catching up to the movies with the best average rating among the critics and viewers. So again, it really does feel like we're seeing a situation where they're gonna be able to use the stats that they're seeing to justify, like I said, the wrong lesson. They're going to look at this and they're going to say, hey, this is a good thing, right? Because, apparently people still want live action remakes. And I can't even argue with that because essentially that is what we're telling them, And remember, you guys are in control. You're not the only ones. You're a small part of it, but the consumer controls what happens in the marketplace because it's your dollars that tell them what you want and what you don't. Live action Lion King was the highest grossing remake, followed by Beauty and the Beast and Jungle Book. There you go. Which Jungle Book was it? Was it the Jon Favreau one? Because that was actually pretty good. Beauty and the Beast, I think, there were lots of big problems with that. I want to say hi to Matanui. Glad to see you here. I'm too old to get live action remakes of animated movies. If there is a point, I don't get it. Well, it's not an age thing, Joe. I'm going to say that it's lazy on Disney's part. Instead of doing something new, they're just going to rehash something. And in the absence of something new, I see the audience going, well, there's nothing else to see. I like the cartoon. I guess I'll go watch the remake. And it's the proliferation of mediocrity. And we as consumers are positively reinforcing that, almost ensuring we'll get more of it. That's pretty much the bottom line of it. Hello, Connie Cleary. Connie, honestly, you don't have to apologize. We're just glad you're here. Corporations always take the wrong lessons. Yeah, I was kind of leading up to that, Matanui. Yeah, people hate these movies, but keep going to see them for some reason. Yes. This is what I keep saying when there's a film that I find particularly egregiously bad, that I'm going, this should not exist. And somebody gives it well, this was okay. I kind of enjoyed it, stuffing popcorn into their face. You are the problem, is what I tell these people. Hey, Curtis Selby, taking your lunch. I'm so glad you are, and I'm so glad you're here with us. Mikey Suze 4 says, hello, chatters, and hello to Mikey and Suze. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that actually makes sense because there was another live action that was not as good. Let's just say it's not as good. I say this about all remakes. If the original was good enough to be remade, it's good enough that it should stand on its own and should not be remade. We should go back and watch the old thing, which, by the way, members of this channel, and if you're not a member, why aren't you a member? It's only $2 a month, and you get great benefits like what I'm about to mention. Every Monday night, members night at the movies, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, we watch a movie together. A movie that I stream on, well, off platform, so you can watch along with us. And tonight we are watching the original Lilo and Stitch, not the remake, the original one. Because why do we want to bother with the remake? And I bring that to my members. So please consider checking that out. Dummies at Disney think that we're ignorant to watch their films. And yes, some of us are bored enough to spend their hard-earned money on this. Yeah, exactly. That is the problem. People keep going to see them because there's nothing else out there. That is the problem. Yeah, what competition did Lilo and Stitch really have? Let's see if there's anything else this particular article is going to offer us. According to Rotten Tomatoes, see, that was the one that I didn't bring up. New Lilo and Stitch is the 9th highest tomato score. Okay, I don't care how it ranks in all of their other failures. Okay. Interestingly, the average user submitted score for the popcorn meter are almost inverse to this dynamic. At the time of this writing, 85% of users submitted reviews for Lilo and Stitch are positive, while Cinderella's scores 78. Again, I think this speaks directly to exactly what you guys were just saying. It has to do with what options you had. Back when Cinderella was out, we had much better and more options to go to the theater to see. Whereas here, you could be lukewarm on Lilo and Stitch and go, but what the hell else am I going to take my family to see it in the theater? You know? So I'm going to kind of bring this to a head and get to what I think the lesson should be here. Disney, the lesson should have been start making better quality new stuff. Quit remaking all your old stuff. Unfortunately, that is not the lesson they're going to take away. They are going to take away, oh, okay, as long as Rachel Zegler doesn't, muck things up, we're going to be successful. And to a degree, that's kind of reinforced here, isn't it? I did kind of start this conversation pointing out that Lilo and Stitch did not have any of the controversy and the audience bashing and the stunt castings of the Disney's most egregious flops. So maybe they take that lesson away from it, and maybe that is a good thing, right? Disney, get away from the woke BS, get away from the stupid stunt casting, the rage bait, the fan blaming, and just make a mediocre film. Even a mediocre film will do well for you if you do that. I guess that's the lesson. So maybe that's not the wrong lesson. Maybe that's at least a step in the right direction. Once we get them on that course, maybe then they start to go, well, we could increase our profits if we make a better product. Imagine that. So maybe Disney is learning the right lesson. We can only see. I think, well, and as you guys said, we also have to get past the Fantastic Four, which may reinforce that message, right? Because when that flops, and many of us are saying it was because of the poor adaptation, it was because of the stunt casting, it was because of the woke bull crap, it was because it had nothing to do with the canon of anything else, maybe they go, we should have followed the Lilo and Stitch model on this one, right? And then we'll see what happens going forward. Right now, we're hearing rumors of stunt casting for upcoming X-Men related films. If they've learned this lesson, maybe not the right lesson, but a decent lesson, we will see that not happen. And maybe Kevin Feige will get reined in. We'll see. In my honest opinion, the last Disney-owned film I truly enjoyed was Tron Legacy. There you go. Which did have decent plot and content. After that, I can't see there's been much to see, which is a great point, and it does mean that Tron Ares has to be at least as much on point. At least that's my thought. Yeah, and those are my thoughts. And I hope you were interested in them. Again, I do want to say, as I did for, at the start of the show, for those of you that have come in since we started, please, I'm asking you to hit that like button. If you were here and enjoyed the show, it costs you absolutely nothing but a moment to just hit that like button. You're already here on the screen, so it's not like you have to go anywhere or do anything particularly extra, and it really does make a difference. If nothing else, if I see that I had 20 people here watching the show and I've only got 2 thumbs up, kind of hurts my feelings, I'll be honest with you. It encourages me if I see a thumbs up from every single one of you. If you're not going to hit the thumbs up, at least give me a comment to let me know why. Troy, you're annoying, you suck, you're boring, something, so I know what to work on. But the other problem is we've got some trolls that are purposely coming in and hitting the dislike button. Netter's gotten them, I've gotten them. And one dislike, when you only have 2 likes, that's a huge ratio. So I'm asking you to help me combat that. And again, that costs you absolutely nothing. Fantastic Four has their own Rachel Zegler and Pedro Pascal. That's a topic for another day, but you're absolutely right on that. And other actors and directors who don't understand the source material. It's not that they don't understand it; they don't even bother checking it out. It's none of their concern. They see no impetus to care about the source material. You know, it used to be if you were doing Shakespeare, or if you were doing an adaptation of classic literature, you had read it. You had read it many, many times. It was just accepted as standard. This was, required reading in all of your literature classes, right? So now, as we're starting to adapt pulp fiction and comic books and so forth, at least in the past, somebody actually did take the time to pay attention to look at it. The one that I bring up the most often, Nicholas Meyer, when he did Star Trek II, had zero idea about Star Trek, never seen Star Trek before then. Watched the entire original series. Boom, 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 boom. And he didn't necessarily like it, but he understood it. He goes, I get it. I understand what this is about. Now, did he dig into the minutia of canon? No. Well, on one episode he did, Space Seed. But other than that, no. He relied on other people at Paramount that were more Star Trek literate to fill in those little blanks. He didn't care. Didn't actively work against it, right? That's at least what you need, right? On the other hand, you got, or on the same hand, other side maybe, you have Richard Donner on Superman, who, again, may not have been a Superman fan per se, but he understood that if this is going to work, we can't go goofy. We can't go, Adam West Batman. This isn't a farce. We're going to have to take this seriously. That's why verisimilitude became a thing. And did he follow canon strictly? Mostly. And the things he changed were good enough that they ended up becoming canon. So that's what we need more of. We need a whole lot more of that going forward. We don't need unnecessary, remakes of things that just make it worse. These aren't the films you're looking for. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, Mikey's saying exactly what I think every moment of every day. Thank you for being a great partner to Troy always, Netter. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Like button smashed. Kapla. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. So what have we got? The end of my drink. I guess that constitutes the end of my lunch. Let's see. I smashed this button in the name of the Klingon Empire. Thank you so much, Curtis Selby. So tonight, as I mentioned before, Members Night at the Movie, we'll be watching the original Lilo and Stitch. Is that from 2002? Is it that old? My gosh. Yeah, Lilo and Stitch tonight, streaming live on Cosme for my channel members. But it followed immediately after that. If I will, well, and see, I got to stick to this schedule because I do have an appointment. Where is there it is. I'm going to drop the channel because I don't believe... Well, let me refresh. Let me see if the stream has gone up yet. No, it has not. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the channel in the chat. Stark of Iron is going live tonight for his Late Night Monday show. So it's going to be about 10:30 our time, Central Time, so about 11:30 Eastern. I will be over on Stark of Iron's channel. And once the stream goes up, I will share it out on my community tab for you. I would really appreciate it if you could stop by, say hi, let Mr. Stark know that Troy is a worthwhile guest to have, because I bring some people with me. Stuart Baird from Star Trek The Next Generation Nemesis had the same no clue approach with his lack of Nick Meyer's energy. In fact, Baird had an I don't give an F attitude. Yeah, and that kind of comes through, right? If you do a project and you don't care, people can tell. The quality just simply isn't there. And thank you so much, Nate. He says cheers. I appreciate it, my friend. So that's what we got coming up tonight. Tomorrow night, live from Sparkwood and 21. Probably going to be a little bit late because of the super secret cinema that Deleted Scenes does. So as soon as that's over, we'll get started on live from Sparkwood and 21, where we will be watching the first half of the Dune Spice Diver edit. We'll get the second half of it next week. Keeping it a little short so that I can then get to the next episode of Blake Seven right after that. We are coming up on the midpoint of season 3 of Blake Seven, and we're not talking long seasons. There's 13 episodes per season, and we only have one more season after this one. So stick with me. Let's see here. So that's Tuesday. Thursday, Netter's Network. I don't know who the guest is going to be. I know she's working on lining somebody up. We will see what happens on Thursday, but one way or another, we're going to be chatting. Wait a minute. Mr. Stark, one of your personalities is a womanizer and a drunk. The other helps take out the neighbor's garbage. One of these paths has a future, the other one does not. Well, as long as there's always a Stark in Winterfell, because we're never going to get another book for that series. That's all I can say. And we're looking for Mr. Anderson. There you go. Let's see. And then Friday, very special guest, James Rackert, Manhands from Seinfeld, will be my guest on Last Call. We will drink. I will drink. He will talk about what the current atmosphere is in Hollywood for people, particularly those behind the scenes, going on auditions and trying to keep your career going as an industry seems to be imploding. We'll be talking about that with him. And then, of course, Saturday, Netter's Network, we'll be watching the movie Frequency with Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel. It's a great movie, a little bit of a tearjerker. It's very heartwarming, and as a so-called there's no actual travel involved, but arguably a timey-wimey type sci-fi film. Very, very good. Very, very good. You know, I have strong opinions about those kinds of things. So that is what I've got lined up for the week. Tomorrow, I can't promise exactly what my topic is going to be for Liquid Lunch, but right now I'm kind of leaning towards a little bit of a screed in relationship to Hasbro and the toy market right now. I know we touched on that before, but I'm going to get very specific about a specific toy line. So there you go. And did I just see Gorilla Hamhand? Yes, Kapla. Speaking of man hands, gorilla hands. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. So one more time, I'm going to make the plea. Hit that like button on the way out. It really does matter. It really, really does. I think even though you hear YouTubers say it all the time, I think they actually underplay how important it is. It may actually be more important than the comments. So I thank you so much for hanging out with me for Liquid Lunch. I am broken, so I've got to go refill my drink, and have my second lunch. And I've got a lot of stuff to do today before the members stream. So thank you guys, everyone, so much. You guys are wonderful. You really do make this happen. And speaking of those that make it happen and the members, stick with us and watch these credits, because these people are the ones that actually put their money where their mouth is and really do produce the show. You guys take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.